Hi, this is Mason. It's 11 o'clock in the morning in Syracuse, and we're live in the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All factual. What's up, everybody? Thursday morning, ready to roll. We are live. It is just past 11 o'clock. Lots going on this Thursday. Should we look back at all of Houston, Carolina? On Monday, we haven't had one of these shows since then. I don't know. It feels a little bit talked out, but we might do that as we get going today. What we'll definitely do, we're gonna do a double dosage of no wrong answers later. Yeah, a straight up double dose of no wrong answers, in which it is talking both basketball and lacrosse, because the games are happening at the same time on Saturday. What's up, Govendo? Hoops is at Virginia, a nooner on Saturday. Lex has St. Joe's in the Dome, a nooner on Saturday. So a lot going on. There when it comes to this Saturday for Orange football and Orange basketball. Yeah, we're getting into tomorrow, Govendo. We're getting into our it's our QC year, right? I guess we gotta celebrate that as our official Syracuse year if we're going to be 44 years old. So Cuse and Virginia on Saturday at JPJ. That's going to be a tricky affair. And Cuse home, Lax versus St. Joe's on Saturday. Then the women Sunday have a massive game, Super Bowl Sunday, women's basketball on Sunday at noon against 6th-ranked Louisville. So that'll be a massive game coming up on Sunday. What's up, Jen? Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for being here on this. It's Thursday. That's what day it is. Link pin top of the chat. You all know the deal if you'd like to join the program here on this Thursday. We'll also get you a little Who's Next. It is Big Tuna's birthday from the chat, as we found out. Sup, Tuna. In the postgame show, I believe that was Monday, we learned that after the Carolina game. So we allowed him as a birthday present. We are generous to pick the subject of Who's Next coming up later in the program today. So we will get to that in due time here on this Thursday. And you know, the who's next thing, it's one of those deals where we're doing it. Yeah, we're doing it. Guilty as charged. You can see it. Doesn't necessarily feel great to be listing out all the people that might replace Red before he's actually been fired. But at the same time, like we're all living here. Like we all know the deal. We all know what's going on. Like do we not know what's going on? Like, come on. Like we know what room we're in. We know where this is trending. And we know what the conversation is. So sometimes you just gotta roll along with it, and see where it takes you. And it stinks for Red and Griff and all the people that have been here forever to have to be going through this. But yet that is what is happening right now. It stinks to be going through this. Yet they going through it. They are, and I think we found this out right during all of our post game show conversations. Realistically, right, This started last year. Like a lot of the names we're going to talk about in this Who's Next series, like first started being bandied about, especially today's name, last year. Like this is not new. Now, and last year I kept saying, yeah, they're not firing the guy after 2 years. Yeah, we're aware this season stinks. And obviously it was a really bad year last year and a losing record and the whole thing. I kept saying, they're not firing the guy after 2 years. And they didn't fire the guy after 2 years. And I think some were surprised. I'm like, come on, you got to give the guy at least 3. Unless it's like the most abject grease fire of all time, which is, you know, there's where Syracuse is, there's rock bottom. We always compared it to the Louisville situation a few years ago and whatnot. What's up, Kev? Welcome in. So here is year 3, though. And I'd say in most cases, like if you're on the fence, you'd like to give somebody a chance to work their way into it. The difference here in the Red situation is that part of the time that counts against his clock is the fact that he was here over the last decade of Boeheim, right? And over the last X number of years of that, he was the associate head coach. So, do you have full control over everything when Jim's in charge? No, but, fingers in the pot and the whole thing. Like, you got to factor that in somewhat if it's going to be a continuity hire that they had. And then I think we've found out amongst all of us, like in our post-game conversations every game, what has happened is, and I try to steer those conversations where y'all in the chat and everybody online, and we're trying to take the conversations where y'all want to go, so we're talking about something that's interesting to everybody out there. And more, the conversation is getting actively steered away from the basketball and more to the future. Like, Monday night was, if you lock in on just the game. If we look Monday at only the game, Syracuse and North Carolina, Big Monday, Dean Dome. If we can cut out the periphery, if we can cut out Red's situation, if we can cut out that every 4 seconds the TV broadcast was telling us about Saturday's game between Duke and North Carolina, if we can focus only on the basketball that happened on Monday, potentially there was a lot to talk about. Syracuse is down by 32. Syracuse rally back in the game. Were they ever really in the game or not? Debate that. There's a lot of things. It's just that by the time we got to Monday, all of us, what's up, Weez? All of us have been together through this process for so long that stuff is just, it's bouncing off like Teflon. It's like, yeah, down 32. Oh, they rallied back. Great. Yeah, they got crushed. And that, in relation to Red, in relation to looking to the future, in relation to all of it, it's why the conversation keeps going there. It's why the conversation keeps going there, because the fan base is they feel like they've been run over by a truck. Feel like they've been run over by a truck. Day before the birthday, quarter zip, Wheeze. I think I'm trying to remember, this may have actually been a birthday gift in years gone by. It was a gift. I forget if it was a birthday gift or a Christmas gift. It's very possible it was this is quite literally a birthday quarter zip, Wheeze. The LL Bean logo's a little aggressive for my liking, but it is a very comfy quarter zip. Thank you, Kid Navy. So officially tomorrow, I'm hanging on to 43 for one more day. It is a Big Tuna. I don't know if Big Tuna in the chat is here, but Big Tuna's birthday is today, as we learned Monday in postgame. And if you were with us Monday in postgame, you know who the subject of who's next is going to be, because we allowed Big Tuna vis-a-vis a birthday present to pick it. I said, I don't need to pick for a birthday present. I have created the whole list. It's all a present for me. So a gift to Big Tuna. A gift to Big Tuna. A wild guest patch in Louise. Yeah, this was a present. I just forget if it was a birthday present or a hey, there's Big Tuna. Happy birthday to you today, Big Tuna. Everyone say happy birthday to Big Tuna. It's Big Tuna's birthday today. It's Big Tuna's birthday today. Shout out Big Tuna. Happy birthday here on February the 5th to Big Tuna. I'll tell you this. You know who's he's no longer with us anymore. I believe he didn't. Let me just make sure I'm not killing somebody. Hang on. I think he's already dead. Okay, yeah, he died 6 years ago. It's Hank Aaron's birthday today. It was Hank Aaron's birthday today because today it's a very home run centric time of year. Hank Aaron's birthday the 5th, and the reason I know this, obviously, with my birthday tomorrow, Babe Ruth's birthday is on the 6th. That's a lot of home runs in 2 days. Hank Aaron on the 5th, Babe Ruth on the 6th. If you want to hit home runs, be born early February. It doesn't always apply. Not everyone gets to hit home runs, but there we go. Hank Aaron today, Babe Ruth tomorrow. So there we go. There you go, Big Tuna. Big Tuna's got big plans. We like it. And you get to unwrap your gift of having picked who's next. We'll do that coming up here shortly. But it's one of these things where this conversation, yes, Ronnie tomorrow. Who else is on my birthday? My grandma actually also had my birthday. That doesn't really pop up when you search it. Ronnie's tomorrow. I believe Tom Brokaw is tomorrow. I believe, I think Bob Marley is also tomorrow. I believe I share it with Bob Marley. I think it's Marley. I don't know if there's anyone else famous today. Let's see. February 5th birthdays. Famous. What is the births? Come on, give me, this is celebrity birthday. Are these apparently it's a good day to be a soccer player. Today is both Cristiano Ronaldo's birthday and Neymar's birthday. So, screw Hank Aaron and the home runs. We got goals aplenty. Ronaldo and Neymar are both born today. And whatever website I've landed on isn't even acknowledging Hank Aaron anywhere in the mix here. So let's come on. If you're not going to put Hank Aaron on the list, the former all-time home run king, then what are we even doing? But Ronaldo, Neymar, and Hank. Big day in the birthing world. So there we go. Hank Aaron. Yeah, what? Yeah, I myself and Babe Ruth, I have combined with Babe Ruth to hit 714 all-time home runs. Me and the Babe have hit 714 all-time home runs, and I think I don't get thanked enough or credited enough for my contribution. Ridiculous. I don't think it comes up enough that I and Babe Ruth together hit 714 all-time home runs. Much like Big Tuna and Hank Aaron together hit 755 all-time home runs. That's a lot of home runs. There's a 56. They hit a lot of home runs combined together. Think of all the goals that Big Tuna has scored with Ronaldo and Neymar together. It's so many goals. So many goals. It's just scads and scads of goals that they have combined for. So yeah, there we are. Me and the Babe, big time home run hitting duo. Just massive home run hitting duo. These websites listing famous birthdays are. Aaron Burr was born on my birthday. Ooh, Alexander Hamilton won't like that. I didn't know I shared with Aaron Burr. How did that not come up in the musical? Yeah, there's Babe Ruth. Who else do we got? Yeah, Ronnie. Yeah. I got Zsa Zsa Gabor. I got one of the Gabor sisters. There we go. That's not too shabby. Yeah, Brokaw. Okay, I was right about Brokaw. Marley. Yeah, there's Marley. Who else do we got? Anybody else interesting? Axl Rose. Huh, how about that? Axl's not looking very good right now. I got the same birthday as Rick Astley. I could rickroll all you. Who knew? I didn't know that Rick Astley and I had the same birthday. All right, there we are. Birthday lookup. What are my contributions to Olympic downhill skiing history? Much like Lindsey Vonn, I do not feel medically capable of downhill skiing at the Olympics right now. Unlike Lindsey Vonn, I'm not going to give it a go. Much like all of the downhill skiers in the Olympics right now, I have been to Italy. I was once up in the Alps, so I think it was the Swiss Alps that I was up in. Didn't ski down them, but I was up in them. I was there. I was in the Alps. So yeah, that's pretty good. I've watched them ski down the mountain. Anybody remember that game from early Windows 3.1? I played a lot of free ski back in the day, and then that weird monster comes out and chases you. You get chased down by the abominable snowman, and then he kind of eats you. It takes a weird grisly turn at the end for what looks like it's a kid's little pixelated skiing game. Yeah. So I contributed. I think I contributed, Weiss. I think I am up there amongst the all-time skiing greats in American history. It's there's Bodie Miller, there's Lindsey Vonn, and then there's me. That's the downhill skiing champions. It's us three, and we dominate. We dominate the hill. We dominate the lift line. We dominate the whole thing. We dominated the whole thing. And Kid Navy, this what I don't actually ski. So none is the short answer. I've literally never actually been downhill skiing. So I'm aware that all of those are mountains. How's that? Yeah, bobsled. I'm the king of the Lake Placid run. I'm the driver. Or no, I'm just in the third seat. That's my job. I sit there all like that. Curling, I feel like could be an accomplished curler. Just, I know my way around a broom. I could curl. I could do that. I could curl. Higgs Family Real Estate, Whitby, with locations in Washington, Iowa, misses skiing. Not many mountains in Iowa that I'm aware of. Iowa, not a mountainous zone. You may be in Washington now. Probably more mountains. Gore Mountain? Yeah. I know Gore. I know the mountains. I don't ski down them, but I am aware of the mountains. I've skied across the country, the flat skiing. I've done that. I know that. I'll watch all of this stuff in the Winter Olympics opening ceremonies tomorrow. I'll watch the crap out of it. But going down I've cross country skied. I've gone across the country. Downhill sledding. I've gone downhill sledding within the last 2 weeks. There's a nice hill right around the corner from here. We got tubes and sleds and all sorts of whatnot going on in the garage right now. Oh yeah, downhill sledding. I can go down that hill. The problem is going back up, because somehow on the way back up, me get in charge of carrying everything from the sleds to the children to the whole apparatus back up the hill. It's just like, Come get me. I'm like, well, you can walk up the hill. No. I'm like, I'm going to die if I drag you all back up the hill again. It's a steep hill, and it's kind of slippy. But yeah, you give me a tube, and we'll be all ready to go. All right. You did cross-country skiing in gym class. Really? They had actual cross-country skis in a gym class. How about that? That's a hell of a workout, cross-country skiing. You're gonna get your aerobics in if you're actually doing it. If you're actually going the full bore on the cross-country skis. Okay, should we get into who's next? Should we begin our exploration of, sadly, who's likely going to follow Red, under the assumption that time is running short on the Red Autry era here. I still say the funniest and best outcome of this, which isn't going to happen, but we'll root for it, is if randomly Syracuse just catches fire and starts ripping through the ACC. I know. And then, makes the tournament, Red keeps his job, and we just keep doing this for months on end when he's not actually getting fired. That would be the best result. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the most logical result right now. Anyway, time for Who's Next.
Mason here. It's time to continue our search for the next Syracuse basketball head coach. With today's candidate, here's Brian.
Oh, that owl. I just can't get enough of the owl. And this other owl. There's way more owls involved in the programming now than I ever would have expected. Way more owls than I would have ever expected. Plus, yeah, vibing. AI kicked all this out. God bless you, artificial intelligence. I don't know where you learned how to drop the bass like that, but fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All right, who's next? This is the third in our series of Who's Next, as we are giving you... Here's what this is. I'm not giving you... This is not a list of my choices to be the next head coach. It's not even a list of the choices to be the next head coach. What I've done here is I've compiled a list of names that have been involved in the conversation in one way or another, either logically, either extremely illogically, or whatever. These are all names that you guys or somewhere has brought up that at minimum are worth exploration. So with that, today we are going to look at this guy. Look at him. That is Bryan Hodgson, the current head coach of the USF Bulls, as selected for our exploration today by friend of the show, Big Tuna. Happy birthday, Big Tuna. There is Bryan Hodgson. You can see he's wearing an Alabama quarter zip.
Mason.
He was hit the wrong button. Come on. I blame Red and Bryan Hodgson and Mason. All right, so there is Bryan Hodgson. You might say, okay, what's his deal? You might want to know. Who's this guy with the beard and the hair and the chin and the whole thing? So Bryan Hodgson, let's take you back, was born in Olean, New York, the home of one St. Bonaventure University. And the Beef and Barrel. If you haven't been to Olean, New York, and it's really hard to just stumble upon Olean, New York by accident, go check out the Beef and Barrel. It's delicious. The rest of Olean is also there. I've been there for a basketball game once, and yeah, like if you're going to Olean, New York, you are most certainly doing it intentionally. You don't accidentally stumble on Olean. So Hodgson was born in Olean on April the 11th of 1987. So, is that bad juju that this guy was born like days after the Keith Smart shot? Hey, them vibes are no bueno. He was born like literally like days after the Keith Smart shot. Hodgson, man. So he's a Western New York guy. Went to Jamestown Community College in the southwest corner of the state. Kind of worked his way up. He worked at Fredonia State, Jamestown Community College, and then eventually in 2015, he ended up at Buffalo on Nate Oates' staff, and then was part of that staff those 2 years. I think it was 2017 and 2018, whatever those 2 years were. Buffalo came into the Dome. 2 great games, overtime, tense, physical, really, really chippy. Syracuse won the first. I believe Buffalo won the second year. Jim Boeheim basically swore he was never to play him again because he just didn't appreciate how those games went down. So Nate Oates ends up going to Alabama after the 2019 season. Hodgson comes with him on the staff at Alabama, where he is for 4 years. Leaves, goes to Arkansas State, where he's the head coach for 2 years. Does a very nice job. He's 20-17 in year 1, 25-11 in year 2. Profile rising, recruiter. People know that. Like, he's one of Nate Oates' lead recruiters. This past year, he leaves and he gets the head job at USF down in Tampa as the head coach of the Bulls. So that brings us up to where he is right now. USF basketball at the moment is 15-8. There's 7-3 in the. Are they in the American still? Who can keep track? There's 7-3 in their conference. I think they're in the American. Yeah, they're in the American. And if you're really, really excited about getting to know Bryan Hodgson, you can turn into ESPNU Sunday at noon and watch them play Tulsa. Or a better option for your Sunday at noon, get all up in the CW. CW Sunday at noon, because it's the Syracuse women versus Louisville. So that's Hodgson. His other tangential coaching cross with Syracuse is he, for several years, I believe, coached the Buffalo alum team in the TBT, including in 2022 when the year after Syracuse won the whole thing, Buffalo won the whole thing, including coming through the region at OCC. Buffalo and Syracuse were actually supposed to, Buffalo and Boeheim's Army, they're called Blue Collar U, I believe is what they were called. They were supposed to play each other in the regional final. Syracuse lost to the nerd team the round before. I called those games over there. It was when Ryan Blackwell was the head coach of Boeheim's Army. So that's this guy's deal. He has been a name, I'd say last year, like much as, and we'll get to this guy later on. A lot of you mentioned, how about St. Louis's head coach? We'll get to Josh Schertz. Josh Schertz right now is probably the hottest, like, mid-major coaching name of this upcoming coach cycle, I'd say, at least at the moment. Like, we'll get to him. We'll tell his story. He was at Indiana State when they had that crazy run a couple years ago, and now he's been in St. Louis for a few years, and they're doing really well. We'll get to him. We'll get to Tony Skinn. We'll get to the other mid-major guys. Hodgson was kind of that last year. Now, they didn't make the tournament. They made the NIT last year, so they lost somewhere in their conference tournament a year ago when he was at Arkansas State. How far did they make it in there? I don't. Where is it? Where can I click and learn things? What did Arkansas State do? Arkansas State won the. Actually, no, they were predicted to win the regular season in the. What league is this? The Sun Belt last year. They ended up in a 4-way tie for first with South Alabama, James Madison, and Troy. Troy ended up, it looks like, being the 1 seed in the tournament. And then Troy beats Brian Hodgson's South Alabama team. Or no, pardon me. Beat his, who was he coaching? Arkansas State team. Sunbelt basketball for the championship to deny them the tournament. So all of that goes into the platter. But last year, I'd say about this time last year, was when, maybe even a little earlier. I'm trying to think last year when, is USF's 10th in the country in points per game this year? Yeah, they generally, Nate Oates' Alabama teams play very high tempo. Hodgson's teams, it's the same thing. They're getting out, they're moving around, they're letting it fly. It's the whole thing. Hodgson a year ago was one of, if not, he was on the hot mid-major coaching list. He didn't get a major conference job, but a clear step up from the Sun Belt to the American, a clear step up to USF. And obviously USF has had success in recent years. Their coach had unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. There's a whole big story there. Taco Fall. No, Taco Fall was UCF. But it was Sharif Abdur-Rahim's brother. Apologies for blanking on his name. So that's all that all came together there. And he's doing fine here this year. I'd say the shine is off Hodgson just a little bit. He's not the hot, gotta have it name of this coaching style. He's in the first year of a new job. Obviously, if a team like Syracuse came calling and he's from New York, like, you listen to the conversation for sure. I'm deeply suspicious, though, of this. His name is Brian Hodgson. We like that. We like a Brian. It's Brian with a Y. Like, Brian with a Y? Do we want a Brian with a Y as the head coach of the Orange basketball team? I don't know. I don't know if we want a Brian with a Y as the head coach of the Orange basketball team. So this is an option. Like, he's a guy, his name's been around the mix long enough here. Tied to Nate Oates. We know the success that Oates had at Buffalo and now has had at Alabama. Now he's out on his own as a head coach and having success. We know that he's a good recruiter. And he's from New York, so he'll understand, at least, he's more Western New York, but in the grand scheme of life, he'll understand what he's getting into, right? If he's in there. Like, he's a guy you kick the tires on a little bit, right? I don't think he's my personal favorite of mid-major guys to go after. We'll get to others later on in our Who's Next program, but He clearly can coach. They got their highest net. Look at Big Tuna. Like, we gave Big Tuna a birthday present, and he's coming back with the research. We love it, Tuna. They got their highest net ranking in program history and 10th in the country in scoring. Let's look at their stats. Let's load up the USF. Whoa, USF's averaging 90 points a game. They're scoring 90.5 points a game. They're giving up 79.5 points a game, so they're plus 11 a game. They shoot a lot of threes. They're making 10 a game at a 33% clip, so a high volume of threes. This is the kind of basketball Alabama does this. They're playing a very modern, spread you out, just gun it kind of game. I look at their roster. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that made double-digit threes. They have 2 guys way out in front, Wes Ennis and Joseph Pinion, that have each made 77 threes. Everybody else is below that, but they're getting it up at USF, and they're playing a very high tempo situation. Cough drop wheeze. Not a Jolly Rancher. So, if you're thinking that that is the kind of style you want to play, right? Like, Nate Oates' style, like, he never quite got to it. Like, when Nate Oates was the coach at Buffalo, they were more like a grit and grind team, and that kind of fit the style of player that they had. They tried to play fast, but they were also a very, 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 very physical team. At Alabama, what Nate Oates has been doing is they've been just trying to up and up and up the pace and the threes and everything in recent years, analytics, all the stuff that goes along with it. So Hodgson's coming off that tree, and if that style-wise, it's obviously a very different style than what Syracuse is doing right now. If that style-wise is a direction that the Orange would like to go in, and in 2026, the way basketball is played, it's a reasonable direction to go in if you want. You don't have the players for it now, but who cares? Like, not having the players for it now doesn't necessarily matter anymore. Oates' style without the baggage, yeah, but he was there the whole time, so I don't know what kind of baggage that. I'd say that's part of my drawbacks with this guy. Like, Nate Oates always seems to have a lot of weird crap going around. This guy was around Nate Oates. Like, is he going to bring weird crap with him? You know, that's the unscientific term. Would Brian Hodgson bring weird crap with him to Central New York? Like, a lot of weird crap. Like, a few years ago, remember, Alabama kind of, went through the whole season playing a guy that was involved in a murder investigation on their team in Brandon Miller, and they were all just cool with it. Like, yeah, let Brandon keep playing. Yeah, he may have been driving the getaway car in a murder, but it's cool. So, there are things like that, is that a reason not to hire a guy? I'd bring it up. I think he was still at Alabama that year. Brandon Miller, Alabama. When was Brandon Miller at Alabama? What year was Brandon Miller? Was it the year was Hodgson still there? Yeah, Hodgson was there that year. So Brian Hodgson was at Alabama the year all that Brandon Miller stuff happened. Like, if I'm John Wildhack, if I'm whomever is doing the interviewing and whatnot for a job like this, we talked about, all right, what questions would you ask Jerry? What questions would you ask Matt Langle, the first two? Like, if I'm Brian Hodgson and I'm in that interview and I'm John Wildhack and I got questions for him, like, we know the style. We know he's a good recruiter. Like, you obviously want to know, all right, who's going to be on your staff? How are you going to fill it out? What are you going to do about NIL, this, that, and the other thing? I'm straight out asking this guy, like, all right, what the hell was up with that Brandon Miller situation and how you guys handled it? Because Syracuse wouldn't want to go through a situation like that. Yeah, maybe Syracuse does want some weird crap. I don't know. Like, but that's a question, like, and I get it. Brandon Miller wasn't charged with any crime, and we don't need to re-adjudicate the whole thing. But, like, that was a kooky story there for a couple months, right? Like, Brandon Miller was driving, like, the getaway car from a murder. It was crazy. It's at least, like, with Hodgson, like, I'd love to know how was that handled within the team? How'd you deal with all of that? Like, because good, bad, and otherwise, like, that, it's crazy. An absolutely crazy story. So I'd love to hear from that, and you just kind of feel out the answers you're getting, right? Like, do you feel you're getting yeah, Syracuse has plenty of weird crap in its history. Fewer murders involving active players, right? Was it his gun? No, I'm forgetting the exact details of how it went down. Who is next? Just make sure it's Jay Wright. You know what? I could put Jay Wright on this list, Weeze. I do not have Jay Wright on my current list because there's not a shot in hell Jay Wright's taking this job. I love Jay Wright. Jay Wright's feeling like Jay Wright's good in the TV chair right now, right? Jay's doing just fine on television. Yeah, Brandon Miller's in the league right now. He's on. Is he on the Hornets? I've lost track of what team he's on. He's somewhere. But yeah, the exact details of that are kind of. It was such a weird story. Now, again, did Brian Hodgson have anything to do with the fact that a player on the team that he was assistant coach for was like there was a car and a gun and a murder and he was tangentially involved? No, but the response to it from Alabama was not met positively nationally at the time, right? Like, if I'm John Wildak, I'm just like, all right, Hodgson, Brian with a Y, take me through that. What happened? What did you know? How did you handle it? Because if you are, like, because that stuff, right? Like, the basketball stuff, like, you know what doesn't blow back on administrators? Pick and roll coverage. 3-point percentage. You know what directly affects school administrators? Murder. Yeah, so you want to just make sure you got your ducks in a row on stuff like that. So Hodgson is an intriguing name for basketball reasons. I just think, in my mind, I'm looking at the list, I'm looking at potential options. I just think there are better, cleaner options out there if you can get them. I understand why he is a name that you'd think about. The style of basketball is very modern and intriguing, and we know that it works. We know this guy can help you get players. Obviously, NIL is a big part of that right now. But, like, if there's a tie, I might lean elsewhere. I might lead elsewhere. Yeah, I do feel bad about doing this segment twice a week with Weez. So there is that. But I do keep doing it. So there's one of those things. With that said, not that it makes it better. Like, this is the talk of the town right now, whether we want it to be or not. This is the talk of the town right now, and it's going to remain the talk of the town until we get to March and something happens or it doesn't. And yeah, it can't be fun to be Red or Griff or any of those guys right now. I say those two specifically because they're the ones with the orange ties that go back. But yeah, it can't be that fun. Do I have anybody on the do I have any other previous Orange players that are going to come up on the list? I have Hakes Family Real Estate in Whitby locations in Washington and Iowa. 2. There are 2 others on the list that played basketball at Syracuse besides Jerry. 1, 2. 1, 2. That's the other side, Kev. Like, I feel bad about it. But, right? Like, this is the business they all chose. Now, it's not fun, right? Now, if you're at Syracuse, right, because it was stable for so long that Jim had the job for almost 50 years, Jim had the job for almost 50 years that, yeah, we never had to do this, right? We never did this. There's schools, I'd say this is more like a football thing. Like football schools in the South, they're doing this like every 3 years. Like Auburn football does this like all day, every day. Yeah, I like Pete. I think Pete does it. I mean, I'll be very intrigued to see, especially since that job has changed now and recruiting and stuff can be involved in the director of operations job. Like, that's the thing that you hate when stuff like this happens, right? Like, when you're the head coach, like, it stinks that Red'll probably lose his job. The head coach in that situation is going to be all right because the head coach is got a lot of money, right? Like, the head coach was made a lot of money. He's going to get paid out a lot of money. But then you go down the line, like guys like Griff and the other assistant, a guy like Pete Corsiniti, who, like, if you've dealt with Pete at all, like, if you have a reason not to like Pete, that would be just peculiar. He just goes about his business. He's a good dude. Yeah, guys like that, and you just never know, because sometimes people blow into town with a whole staff and a whole new operation. Sometimes they come into a job like this and they want a little continuity. We were talking last night on our TPS report about Alex Klein, the GM, about what would a new head coach want to keep Alex Klein. And it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, if I'm a new head coach, I'd at least want to keep Alex in place until I got up to speed, right? Then it depends if you have your own GM type or whatnot that has worked at this level. Like, I think Alex knows what he's doing. I think he's an asset to the program. Heck, Red was an asset to the program as his assistant coach, but things change. Same deal with Pete. Like, I'd feel really bad if Pete lost his job. Like, that's not fun. That's not fun at all. He's an asset to the program. His wife works there. Like, the whole thing. Like, he's got, I think, 2 young kids. Like, that's brutal. Absolutely brutal. Unfortunately, it's the business they all work in. The difference being at Syracuse, like when all of these people with Syracuse ties signed up at Syracuse, it just wasn't the business at Syracuse because it was Boeheim and it was people stayed there forever. So it's brutal. We talked about this last year or 2 years ago when Dino gets fired. Like it's not just the head coach; it's a lot of people that get cleaned up. Klein brought in all the ball hogs. I don't know about that. Did Klein? I'd say Alex was more overseeing the portal, which is, the Nate George thing aside, that's Kings and Kyle and guys like that. I'm gonna say like Cayenne and JJ and Donnie are elsewhere, right? So there we are. Should we put a wrap on who's next? A look at Brian Hodgson today. Brian with a Y. Yeah, I can give you a side eye like that squirrel did to me the other day on the backyard bird cam. Shout out Wild Birds Unlimited. But we'll pick this up again on Monday. We've done now 3 on the list: Jerry McNamara, Matt Langle, and Brian Hodgson. We'll have to see what direction we may go on Monday. I'm leaning to go a more absurdly eccentric way on Monday, but we'll figure it all out coming up. That wraps up who's next today. And yeah, like the good and bad of Jim Boeheim, like the loyalty of Jim is a really good thing most of the time, right? But in the latter years of Boeheim, obviously things got really stale. Coming out of COVID, like so much stuff happened right at the same time. We go to the Hopkins thing, he leaves, and then we're like, now Buddy's here, now we're right into COVID, and then like just stuff kept happening. Stuff kept happening. Is it really hard to pull up a computer and pull out the guys with the best analytics? Yeah, that's a great question. Like, I think Alex did a nice job keeping that stuff organized, but I'm sure he's not the only guy that can do stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's one where, because we've all been observers and fans of this program for a long time, like, I think the valuing of the loyalty is important. But at the same time, like, being in the tournament is important. They haven't been in the tournament. It's going to be 5 years. This is Syracuse basketball. And this is what I said, and I've said this multiple times now, and it's hard to see the forest through the trees when you're here in the middle of it, that Syracuse's brand still matters nationally. Like, when Syracuse is down 30 against Carolina on Monday, like, national media types are like getting involved. Like, I saw Pat Forty and Dana O'Neill and John Rothstein and like all those types are out there like, man, what is going on? And it's all framed in the idea of what's going on because it's Syracuse basketball that shouldn't be going on. Now, all of those people's history with Syracuse basketball is Jim Boeheim. Most of our history with Syracuse basketball is Jim Boeheim. Yes, there was a time before. I was literally more than 50 years ago now. It's been a minute. So is it time to rip the Band-Aid clean? Is there a way to thread the needle and make it work? They tried to thread the needle and make it work with Red, and it's not working. Can you try again with Jerry and make it work? That's a risky thing to do. Is there a way? There's a couple other guys on this list we'll get to later that, can you thread the needle and make it work? Maybe, but man, I wouldn't force it. I just wouldn't force it. Pardon me, just covered in germs right now at the basement compound here. All right, should we do a little no wrong answers here? We're gonna go double your pleasure, double your fun. No wrong answers today, because ask Jim about his James Street apartment. Is that where he was living back in the day? Kid Navy. He was rocking James Street, but I once had a James Street apartment. Probably not the same one. But yeah, There we go. Shout out to James Street. Let's do this. Basketball, Virginia, noon, Saturday. Lacrosse, St. Joe's, noon, Saturday. We need answers.
Hi, Mason again. It's time to find out exactly what's going to happen in the next Syracuse game. This is No Wrong Answers. Here's Brian.
That's the next Syracuse games with an S, Mason. We're going double dip, no wrong answers coming up on Saturday, Syracuse and Virginia. Thank you, Kevin. Syracuse and Virginia at noon at JPJ. Syracuse and St. Joe's on the lacrosse field in the Dome, also at noon. Let's start with the Virginia Cavaliers. Virginia, here's the thing about Virginia. Remember when Virginia got less good there for a couple of years? Yeah, they're done with that now. Virginia's 19-3. They're 7-2 in the league. Virginia is entering this game having won 3 in a row, albeit against, you talk about Syracuse going into a tough set of the league. Virginia's going into the easiest part of they're in the middle of the easiest part of their schedule. They lost a wild game to Carolina there at home a couple Saturdays ago, where Carolina made a fantastic second half comeback. That was a great basketball game. Since then, Virginia's gone to Notre Dame and won in overtime. They've gone to Boston College and won by 7, and then they've hosted Pitt and won by 20, and now they've got Syracuse coming up on Saturday. So they're in the Big East portion of their schedule right now. Obviously, no more Tony Bennett at Virginia. They've got Ryan Odom there now as their head coach as they try to get things back on track. I'd say do more than try to get things back on track. It was a very short down period in the transition away from Bennett here to get to where Virginia is. And here's how you're going to know you're not in the Tony Bennett era anymore about Virginia. Virginia is averaging 83 points a game. This is not your slightly older brother's Virginia. This is a very, very different Virginia team that Syracuse will be running into on Saturday. And Syracuse obviously coming in after the blowout, not blowout, but it was a blowout, not blowout, loss to Carolina on Monday. I just think this is a really tough spot for the Orange to be involved in here this week against Virginia. No wrong answers. Let's get into it from a Syracuse perspective. We'll start with Donnie Freeman, who's back in the starting lineup on Monday. I don't know. The ball's getting stuck. Like the offense is going to him to die. He's both the best player, and it's becoming very frustrating to watch the way it's become only iso ball with him, where when he first came back, it wasn't that. It was running. Now, the opposition, I guess, is one thing, but it was working just a little bit more organically when he first came back. But I'll go Donnie 16-7 in this game. 16.7 rebounds for Donnie Freeman in this game. J.J. Starling, again, it's just not been a very efficient season for J.J. Starling at 12 points in the game. For Starling, no wrong answers. Nate Kings, the Nates, Kings and George. I really like what Kings has been doing. The defense really harassed him, though, on Monday. Virginia's will attempt the same thing. I think Kings has a decent game. We'll go 12 points for Nate Kings in this one. Nate George, I mean, who even knows at this point from Nate George? Predicting Nate George has become the most impossible thing to do on this basketball team. We'll go 8 points, 7 assists, 4 turnovers for Nate George against Virginia on Saturday. Cayenne, yeah, he had 10 points on Monday, but he's not playing well. He's not playing well. He's flat out not playing well. I don't think this is a great environment necessarily to go into, and you're not playing well. 7 points, inefficient shooting for Anthony in the game. His fellow freshman Sadiq White will commit fouls. No wrong answers. Tyler Betsy, best 3-point shooter, worst defender on the team. It's a hell of a balance. Like, it's really tricky to, like, this is where I feel bad for Red. Like, Betsy should play more. And Red's like, well, he's also got to play the other end of the court, and he's been terrible at the other end of the court. I don't know. Betsy will make 3 threes in this game, and I'm just going to ignore the defensive end of the court for now. And William Kyle on the front line. Kyle really struggled on Monday against a big and burly Carolina team. Like, I just felt that was going to be the case. Coming up on Monday, Virginia, quick looking through their size. Just scanning their size. Where are we at with their size? They've got some size. It's not as imposing as Carolina, but it's certainly not existent. They had a couple of 7-footers on the roster. Their bigs have a little weight and muscle to them, and they got a lot of foreigners there. I think this could be a struggling kind of game again for Kyle. We'll go 8 points and 2 rebounds for William Kyle in the game. The rebounds I'm worried about with Kyle, him just getting physically pushed around a little bit in this game. No wrong answers. Syracuse and Virginia will wait for the final score for the end. Thank you, Govendo and Elite Wealth Management. Duly appreciated. Lacrosse game, Syracuse and St. Joe's on Saturday, also at noon. St. Joe's will be playing its first game of the season. They had their outdoor game at NJIT, that's the New Jersey Institute of Technology, canceled last Saturday. Why? It was January in New Jersey. What'd you think was going to happen? St. Joe's has been, let's see what their record was last year. They were 9-6. They've been a solid team. They're in the A10. They're always kind of in the mix. Like, they're not a great team. When they play, like, big boy teams, they usually lose, but they have a way of hanging in. Like last year, they played Duke early in the season and lost by 2. They played Richmond late in the season, who was the ranked team in the A10, and they lost by 3. So I don't even think they're as good as BU, but this is not like a pushover club Syracuse has coming into the Dome on Saturday. Gary mentioned after the game they also 10-man ride, which was a significant issue for the Orange in the opener. And honestly, out of everything we're to see in this game on Saturday, I think the main thing to watch out for, area of improvement, game 1 to game 2. So no wrong answers, Cuse Lacrosse Saturday. Johnny Mullen at the dot. He won 2/3 of his face-offs in the opener. I think Mullen goes north of 70% in this game. He's fantastic. He may be the best face-off guy in the country. Syracuse will dominate possession most of the season because of that. Joey Spallina fast-tracking down Mike Powell for the leading scorer in Cuse program history and 5 points in the opener. I think Joey kicks that up a little bit today. Saturday. We're going to go 2 goals but 5 assists for Spallina in this game. Distribution, 7 points for Spallina. Bear Anderson. I like Peyton Anderson. Let's give him a hat trick in his second game this year starting at attack. I think he's going to get to the goal. And if Spallina's going to have assists, they got to go to somebody, right? I think we get a bit of a Michael Leo game. We didn't see a lot of it. Was Luke Roa off the first midfield line that got it started in the opener. I think Michael Leo in game 2. Let's get a hat trick for Leo. He's fantastic as a dodging threat off that first midfield line. And Wyatt Huddle intrigued in the opener. He was kind of the spunky guy on the second midfield line. I think another 2 goals for Huddle. If you're going to win the Natty, your second midfield needs to have a little bit of punch, and Huddle showed that in game 1. The defense with Figueres and Dwan, stout. I think they'll do that again. McCool in the goal. Jimmy was great in the first game, stopped 2/3 of the shots. I think he'll again be north of 50% in save percentage against St. Joe. So here we go. No wrong answers for the weekend. Syracuse, Virginia on the basketball court. No wrong answers. Final score, Virginia 85, Syracuse 71. No wrong answers in the Dome on the lacrosse field. I think they clean it up a little bit. I think Syracuse, they got to get tuned up and ready to go. Maryland's coming to the Dome next Friday night. No wrong answers, lacrosse in the Dome on Saturday. I think Syracuse tunes them up a little bit. St. Joe's is not a bad club. We're going to go no wrong answers, Syracuse 15, and the Hawks 6 on Saturday. There we are, a little no wrong answers. You know the deal. Basketball postgame will follow at the end of Syracuse, Virginia, around about 2 on Saturday, right here on YouTube. We'll work a little lacrosse into our talk. The lacrosse game will probably take a little bit longer. we're going to play it by ear here after the game. We'll see what kind of crowd we got. We'll see what people want to talk about. Maybe we can give you a little of Gary's press conference. I don't know. It's going to be a basketball postgame show, but we'll be willing to head off the beaten path if that's where the demand is at on Saturday. So we'll just play that by ear as we get through our day on Saturday. And there we are, little no wrong answers. Spatch in the Weeds. Is anything hanging behind me related to SU men's lax? Is it ever? That is, am I pointing at it? Yeah, oh, that's a great point. I'm right on it. That is the cover of the Inside Lacrosse magazine with the tying goal of the 09 championship game on that crazy play. That's in the middle of Matt Abbott's pass to Kenny Nims that tied it up. Hang it. It's like reverse. There. That is the Inside Lacrosse edition. That's the season preview for 04, because that is Mikey Powell. In this thing, there's some passes in there. There's some lacrosse passes in there. That I'm like a weatherman now. How do they do that? Those weathermen are impressive. That is a lacrosse ball signed by one John Desco. So yeah, we got some lax stuff down here. We're laxing it up down here in the spacious basement studios. We're full on in lax mode. There we go. Yeah, I'm intrigued by Hoddle, at least in the opener. Somebody on that second midfield line's got to step up. Higgs Family Real Estate would be. Somebody does. And Hoddle did in game one. We'll see if somebody else wants to do it in game two. And yeah, I'll be intrigued to see which of those freshmen, like there was a handful of freshmen that contributed in various ways in the opener. You just got to watch more than a few games to get the sense of all of it going forward. Just got to watch more than a few games to get the sense of it and see it's going to be. Like last year, Peyton Anderson kind of popped as a freshman, and now this year here as a sophomore, he's stepping into it, right? Like he's getting into, now he's in the starting lineup, obviously because of the Trey Deer car accident, but I think it makes a lot of sense of him sliding in there with Finn Thompson and Joey Spallina. I think that trio together makes a lot of sense on the field, and Finn can have a really nice year. So we'll see who ends up popping this year for Cuse Lax. All right, there we do. We've done it. We've done Who's Next. We've done No Wrong Answers. We've talked we've talked Lax. We've talked Cuse. We've talked the whole thing. Upcoming schedule, we mentioned to you post-game show coming up on Saturday, where it's a basketball post-game show where we'll potentially dabble in the lacrosse as well. So with that, have a lovely rest of your Thursday, and we will reconvene here in 2 days' time for some post-game action.
Thanks for watching the 315 with Brian Higgins. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. We'll see you next time.